Have you sunk a ton of money into NetSuite but aren't seeing any ROI? You're not using NetSuite wrong, and you're not alone. You just don't have the system set up like the profit engine it could be. Let's start with this dirty little secret. Most NetSuite dashboards, they are just vanity metrics. They look nice, but they don't tell you why your margins are shrinking or where your cash is going. To turn NetSuite into a profit engine, you need three things. One, you need real-time visibility into gross margin by SKU, sales channel, and by customer. Two, you need true landed cost tracking. And three, insight into inventory turnover by SKU. Here's a client story I feel will resonate with you. We worked with a distributor doing $25 million a year in revenue. They called us because they couldn't understand why they didn't have more cash flow despite growing top-line revenue a bunch over the last few years. And their controller was never really happy with their switch to NetSuite and was never going to learn a new system properly. He had no idea how to harness the powerful data in NetSuite to help them make changes. Their NetSuite reports showed 60% gross margins. It sounded great, but after digging in, we realized tariffs weren't being tracked in landed costs, shipping costs were dumped into an overhead account, discounts weren't even tied to customers properly. Their real margin, 35%, almost half. That took them from, hey, we think we're doing great, to why are we always tight on cash? All of those costs that should have been up in COGS were just being expensed as overhead. No wonder they couldn't grow the business to profitability. They were actually growing the business broke. If you related to this story and you're struggling with NetSuite as well, leave a comment below. I'll share any thoughts I have to try and help. So how can you set up NetSuite to avoid these margin mistakes and increase cash flow? The first thing we did for this client was we took over their accounting function so we could control the accounting process to ensure their NetSuite data was accurate. And we trained their AP specialist on how to properly record the freight in bills and tariff expenses to be booked as landed cost. There are a few different ways that landed cost can be configured in NetSuite, depending on your flow and the timing of bills. We configure the system to be the most efficient for them. This is one reason why having someone with expertise in both accounting and NetSuite administration is really helpful. Second, we help them update their BOMs to include direct labor in the item cost. This allowed them to see the real contribution margin of a product after labor cost. You don't need the fancy advanced manufacturing module in NetSuite to do this either. Just add a service item to the BOM that reflects the estimate of the labor cost. After these changes, they could then easily see the true contribution margin for each product after all associated direct costs, including labor. Once we had that, then we just had to optimize sales for their highest margin products. Third, we helped our client build a dashboard that shows their top 10 items by revenue, along with their gross margin by item. They found they were running around really busy selling a lot of low margin products. This helped them decide to focus on higher profit margin products and focus their cash flow and labor towards those items instead. We also built a dashboard that showed them contribution margin by customer. Similar to focusing on their most profitable items, they started focusing on keeping their most profitable customers happy. Our client was always dealing with back-ordered product. At least now they knew which customers to prioritize over others. Finally, we helped them compare their inventory turnover ratio by item versus its gross margin. Again, we had them prioritize their highest selling and highest margin items to make sure they always had sufficient stock for these items, even if it meant their back orders increased on the lower margin items. The result was they became less busy, improved their profit margins, and improved their cash flow from efficiently buying the right inventory. Any business can do the same analysis. The key is that you have NetSuite configured properly and the right accounting team to run it. So yeah, NetSuite can be a beast, but if you tame it, it'll pay you back every single day with maximum ROI. You just have to stop using it like a ledger and start using it like a lever. If you're open to ideas on how to increase your NetSuite ROI, feel free to subscribe to our channel. And if you'd like to see how we could help you, please click on the link in the description to contact us. See you on the next episode.